Hi, this is Andrew Harrison here again. I'm going to deliver my informative speech on global supply chain security. So what I'm going to talk to you about is some of the threats that are taking place in the supply chain security industry today, and I'm going to tell you how to mitigate some of those threats. And then I'm going to kind of wrap it all up and kind of give you a conclusion. So to start off, I want to tell you a little bit about some of the vulnerabilities that the supply chain faces today in terms of threats. So there are two different types of threats. We deal with internal threats and external threats. So on the internal threat side, we deal with organized crime, we deal with opportunistic thieves, and we deal with cyber attacks or cyber thieves. These are folks you can't see. So on the organized crime side of things, we're dealing with organized individuals who have a plan, who work together to carry out a mission for a common goal. On the opportunistic side, these are folks that are hard to detect because you don't know who they are, and on any given day they may take a chance and try to steal something, or they may not. That's why they're called opportunistic thieves. On the cyber attack or cyber thief side of things, they don't operate traditionally. They try to attack networks and systems to gain information or proprietary assets. On the external threat side of things, we deal with terrorists, drug cartels, and also organized crime. So in terms of terrorism, terrorists these days want to disrupt our way of life in any way, shape, or form, and that's no different in the business sector either. In terms of drug cartels, if you have businesses today that or in other countries, especially Central America, the cartels are a big problem because you have to deal with a high level of violence to get your goods in and out of the country, so it's a very, very dangerous element to deal with. And then, of course, organized crime exists on the external side as well, and it exists mostly, what we've seen mostly is to hijack loads in transit. So what to do about all this? How do you secure your supply line? Well, you have to have a solid framework to mitigate the risk. And I think a solid framework, being a security practitioner myself, my son thinks I'm a security guard at the night of the museum, but as a security practitioner, I can tell you that a good, strong framework is built around 4 areas, and I'm going to talk about those 4 areas a little bit. And those areas are standards, people, processes, and technology. So let's talk about standards for a moment. The standards that we adhere to in the supply chain industry, and these are global standards, I might add, are TAPA. And TAPA stands for Transported Asset Protection Association. And it is a set of standards that are best in class for the supply chain. And they focus around everything to include perimeter control, access control, CCTV, policies, procedures, processes, all that sort of stuff. CTPAT is another standard that we adhere to in the supply chain industry, and it stands for U.S. Customs Trade Partnership Against Terrorism. And it is a voluntary program that global companies can participate in, and when you partner with U.S. Customs, you get some perks. What you get is you get faster border times for your goods. So if you've got trucks trying to get into the country or out of the country, think of your trucks having an express lane. And what does Customs get out of this for you to participate in the CTPAT program? It helps them secure the nation's borders. So it helps them partner with businesses so they can help secure the supply line. Another one is ASIS, is another big standard. It stands for the American Society for Industrial Security. And it's very similar to TAPA, but I would say that ASIS is very much technology-based. So those would be the standards that you would need for a solid framework. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about the people side of things. You need a contract security guard program. So you need guards at control points to manage ingress and egress out of the building. You need guards at control points to, essentially screen your workforce, screen folks to make sure folks aren't stealing your assets. You need law enforcement. Law enforcement is a critical piece to have in your program. You want that from a partnership perspective when you have cases to work, and you also want that from a criminal crime deterrence perspective. You also want to have intelligence analysts. You want to be forward-looking and forward-thinking at all times. You want to be drumming up intel and threats that are going on in the world so you can always stay one step ahead of the game. And then, of course, lastly, you want an in-house corporate security team. You want a team of experts that are trained to investigate and manage a solid framework. On the processes side, you want to have a security officer's handbook. This is an all-encompassing document that includes all processes and procedures that a security officer may need for his job. You want to have employee training at the time of onboarding, and you also want to have driver training. This helps build the culture and helps reinforce the security mission. And then lastly, you want to have, in terms of technology, CCTV systems, access control systems, GPS devices, and you want to have a security operations center. So I guess to sum it all up, the global threats are evolving and will continue to increase. It's not going to get any easier out there. It's only going to get tougher. Companies should adopt and maintain at all times a solid security framework. So that's my conclusion. I hope you learned a little bit about supply chain security and the standards, and I thank you very much.